Sorry guys for not keeping y'all updated on my progress. I did take my plastic shrouds off my grill because I plan to repaint them for the meantime because I got parts in a cart and I just gotta get the money saved up to order them. This is why I named my truck. I named my truck this because when I decided I wanted to get this truck, this was originally my grandfather's. He had it sitting in his garage with his Corvette, and while I was a little kid, he would start his Corvette up. But when he got this truck sounded so much like his 1965 steering wheel Corvette, I would run outside thinking he would be starting it. But he would always be starting this truck. But no, these are not actual bullet casings. They're license plate holders I got from Walmart. As you can see, it says 44 mag on it. But this is my family farm. No, that's not my field. My field's way back there. And I'm gonna zoom in real quick. Y'all can see way back there, there's an 84 Ford F-150 short bed that belonged to my dad's truck. It was named Blue Bee, and he took the cab off it. My grandfather cut the frame and turned it into a trailer. My great-grandmother bought it for my dad, and I own it now. But there is a spare tire mount on it that I plan on taking off and trying to throw onto my truck, which is, I don't know if I'll be able to do it because the frame is narrower. I know my truck. I've had my truck since I was 16. It needs a bath, but I'm probably going to have to get a pressure washer. But I did learn one thing about pressure washing. As you can see, that's my air cleaner. It's starting to rust. I'm going to replace it with the factory original Ford air cleaner, which will be routed right there. I don't know when it was replaced. I don't like it. It's not really the best thing for a gravel road. It's the best thing for highway cruising though. But last time this truck was pressure washed, my grandfather mixed in oven cleaner and pressure washed my engine. And as you can see right there, my engine block is starting to rust. As you can see, I got wasp and dirt dauber nest all over my engine. It hasn't ran in 2 years and 3 months to the date. I found my original jack in my building. There's the screws and bolts that hold on to that one. Same on this side, screws and bolts and some miscellaneous tools for while I'm working with my battery for this side. But enough about my engine. I did do, I'll fix that later. I did do some work to it. I painted all 4 of my rims, all 4 of my leaf springs, and my frame and shocks. I did tape up my power steering hoses and brake lines and such and such. I painted my wheel well on all 4 corners of this truck. I used 2 cans of black for the frame. And as you can see right there, I ran out of black spray paint because I was trying to get that cleaned up. But I used 4 cans of black and almost 1 can of white for all 4 tires. I eventually do plan on getting new tires for it because when I painted them, I didn't have a 4-way, which I still don't have. So I wasn't able to take the tires off. So I got a little bit of white spray paint on my tire, but I plan on replacing them. I'm going to have to replace my windshield gasket because as you can see right there, it's a big chunk missing there, and it's cracking right there. It's the whole reason we had it moved underneath the carport because my cab was leaking. That's just one of the spots where it's leaking. But people, my family, my step family that lives on this farm, tend to like to drive somewhat fast, so I got gravel chips in my windshield, which is yet another reason to replace it. I got a gravel ding right here on my hood. Did take that off and popped what little was left of the Explorer emblem out, because I plan on replacing this along with all the other badges. I want to have this truck running within the next 4 years and have it restored within the next 6. And for about 4:30 this morning, I finally came to the realization that I cannot daily drive this truck. It's too old. It requires too much maintenance. Maybe after I fully restore it, maybe I might be able to daily drive it. I highly doubt it though. But I got parts in a cart waiting to be ordered, waiting for me to get the money. I got a new grill shell, grill, plastic grill inserts, new glove box, because that's the original and it's torn to shreds. As you can see, I did do all 4. That damage was there when I got her. This damage right here on my door and a little bit on my cab. And those little rust spots on my hood. That big dent right there, and then this big dent right here are all from me being rear-ended by a semi 3 years ago on March 12th. Going back to school from my doctor's appointment. It was icy, snowy, and my brakes were starting to go out. And I was in the middle of town. A brand new Ford decided to stop dead in front of me to turn to a gas station. I didn't have enough time to brake, so I covered another lane and got rear-ended by a semi. It did drive back home. As you can see, the bumper wasn't completely straightened out, but I plan on replacing it too, which is gonna be fun trying to replace that, because this Reese's hitch is welded together and bolted onto my bumper. As you can see right here, I do have the same type of license plate holders for my rear. I really want to try to save this bed. I don't know if I can. I'm gonna save this tailgate though. I'm gonna pull that dent. I'm gonna weld up all these pinholes in my tailgate and pull all those dents up top. No, I'm not a veteran. That's from the original owner of this truck, the man who bought it in '76 from the dealership. I did get a hold of the dealership, try to find out if they had any service information on it. That would help me try to figure out why my transmission keeps breaking on me. First time I called them, they told me they didn't have anything. I called them a second time about 2 to 3 hours later, and I told them, instead of looking at the computers, being that this is a 77, I told them to go back through their hard copies, and they found out that the original engine, which is a 400, not a 351 modified, is putting out too much torque for my C6i Mac to handle. Since I've owned this truck, the transmission's blown up on me twice. Since I decided I wanted this truck, the transmission's blown up on me 3 times. But there are some things that I forgot to show you. Let me go ahead and grab my keys out my bed. Forgot to film all this work I've been doing, so I'm trying to catch y'all all up on my progress. I did have the entire dash taken apart, trying to figure out how my wiring was routed in my dash, because I'm going to be replacing every single wire in it. Because like I said, the whole reason why it hasn't ran in 2 years and 3 months was because I came home from school one day. I was ticked off because I was locked at the house. my truck was sitting where that Tahoe is right now. And I had to go to work. I had my uniform. I worked at McDonald's at the time. My mom bought me that sticker. I think 3 months after I started working at McDonald's. But I got home from school. I had my uniform shirt on. I was getting ready to leave for work. I hopped in my truck. I pumped the gas pedal to get started. It's a carbureted engine. That's something you have to do. I turned it over. I didn't let it warm up properly. And I just continuously revved it. And I didn't continuously rev it. I revved it once. Harder than I should have. And as soon as I left the gas pedal, everything shut off. I have no interior power. I have no power to my lights. I have no power to my engine. So I'm to replace the wiring harness from headlight to taillight. That's going to be a fun video. I'm going to keep y'all updated on it. But my windshield's not the only spot where it's leaking. If you can see right there, I believe the second owner of this truck decided he wanted to put T-tops in. And he tried. He decided to give up and didn't fix it properly. So my roof is leaking, which is going to be another fun thing I'm going to have to fix. But back to that sticker right there. Every time my truck has been in the shop over the transmission being broke, every time they took it for a test drive, the person who was test driving it would either text me or call me, telling me that they laughed their rear end off over that sticker. My mom got me it, and I went to my grandfather's to pick up my truck, and I opened it, and there was 2 of them. And I was kind of excited and embarrassed because I was at my grandfather's house with my grandfather, my step-grandmother, my uncle, my aunt, and my 2 cousins, and I pulled out 2 of those stickers. My mom told me that it was a Halloween sticker. As you can clearly see, it is not. But that sticker right there I put on a year after she finally shut down on me. I was still able to somewhat start her up off the solenoid. And that sticker right there I put on 2 weeks after I got her. I grabbed that sticker out of my grandfather's 65 Corvette, along with that sticker that's on my back glass, which is, I got it on my back glass, that way it can be seen outside my truck, and on my ashtray, that way if someone's riding in my truck and they can clearly see the rules of riding in my truck. Yes, those are the rules. And yes, that is an 8-track player. I do have 2 8-tracks. I have Bob Singer's Night Moves. Me and my mom picked that one out together. And this one, y'all can't really see because it's really, the sticker on it's fading off, but y'all can see that it says Sticks on it. It's, I don't know the exact name of the album, but it has Renegade on it, which it goes, "Oh mama, fear for my life, long arm of the law." But that's the whole reason I have that, because we are in the middle of some court dealings over the property of the farm, and that's kind of fitting. I want to get my radio, before I get my truck fixed, I want to have my radio functioning, and I want to be able to listen to that. My mom wants to be able to listen to it too, so I'm going to put all my best effort in to do it. But that's my original glove box. As you can see, it really needs to be replaced. I have my glove box open, and that wire hanging out of my glove box, and you see that little silver thing right there, is a horn button. And it's running out my door, along in between my fender and my cab and into the hood to a Dixie horn. But I'm going to be replacing the steering wheel. The steering wheel is off a 1978 F-150 that I got out of a junkyard. I found me a website that sells factory 77 steering wheels and 77 horn buttons. Being this is a 77, I want it to be as factory as possible. So I'm going to replace it. And when I got the truck, with it being an automatic, my grandfather, this is my parking brake, my grandfather decided to cut the parking brake cables, which is something I'm going to have to replace because I'm putting in a 4-speed, because I'm not dealing with rebuilding that automatic for a 4th time. The first time it cost me $4,000 to get it rebuilt. The second 2 times it was under warranty. But since it's not running, and I didn't have the money at the time to get a tow truck to have it towed to the transmission shop where she had been rebuilt previously, the warranty is expired. So I'm going to replace the transmission, that way I don't have to worry about the automatic. I'm going to sit the automatic on a shelf until such time as I feel too old and my leg's too weak to push in the clutch pedal, and then I'll put the rebuild the automatic properly and put it back in. Yes, it is a true Highboy. It has the speedometer that goes up to 100. This is not the original dash. My grandfather has the original dash. This is an aftermarket dash that I got. It's LED, but with the 2 years that this truck sat at my grandfather's in his driveway, he took out all the LED lights and replaced them with incandescents, and then didn't replace my turn signal bulbs. So I'm going to have to find bulbs that will fit that. I'm going to have to pull up these running boards, which is going to be a pain. As you can see, that screw right there is stripped. The rest of these screws appear to be fine. I'm going to pull up my bench seat because I'm to pull up the carpet. Because if y'all can see right here, you can see through my carpet. My floor pan is completely rusted out. I'm to cut out the floor pan and replace it, which I'm going to do when I go to replace the transmission with a manual. Hopefully, once I get her running, I can manually shift her automatic, because it's a 3-speed, but it's a C6, so I can start off in first, shift up in the second, and hopefully shift up in the third. In the drive, it's hydraulically powered, so that's a high probability. But I am going to replace it with a manual. Yes, I have a locking gas cap. I do not trust my neighbors. But I'm going to replace all my badges. I tried to repaint this one with what little black spray paint I had left. It didn't work out too well. And this is the original windshield, which really makes me not want to replace it. But I don't know if y'all can see those dings right there in my hood. Those were from when I got really upset and depressed because my truck wasn't running, and this was 3 months after it finally broke down on me. And if y'all can see where that pine tree and that black building is, that's where she was sitting. And I was depressed. It was late at night and I was upset. And I came out here to my truck, to this side specifically, put my hands on my hood like this, like so, and proceeded to bang my head on the hood right there. That's how those dings got there. Yes, I am extremely hard-headed. I did not feel a thing. But I eventually want to completely restore it. This is a stripe on the truck. It is not the factory color because it has faded away and started to blend into the factory color of this truck, which is a copper poly. I'm going to have it completely repainted, but as y'all can see, there's the adhesive, and once the adhesive wears off, it turns that color. But I want to try to save my bed. There is a bunch of pinholes in my bed that I am going to try to weld up. I am certified in welding. I got certified in welding in high school. But like I said, it took under a can of white spray paint to paint my rims on the outside because I wasn't able to take them off and paint them on the inside. I will eventually take them off, dismount the tires because I'm going to put new tires on it, and completely paint the rims. I'm going to strip the paint, steel wool and wire brush them to get them shiny, get all the rust off, and prime them, paint them white back to factory. But as you can see right there, that's where I ran out of my second can of black spray paint. I only painted 4 corners of my frame and suspension with 2 cans of black spray paint and under 1 can of white spray paint to paint my tires. But right there's some of the damage on my hood from where I got rear-ended by the semi. The semi came up my side. My mom was in the passenger seat. I was in the driver's seat because I was under a learner's permit at the time, and I was driving back to school. My mom was going to take my truck back home. And when I got rear-ended, my side view mirror, that's the original bracket, but that's not the original mirror because my original mirror got broke. Luckily, my grandfather had a replacement that matched my driver's side mirror. But back to the story right here. My passenger side mirror, before it got ripped off a post on a, I believe the year model is a 2003 Max Semi. It ripped off one of the 3 posts, and the post that got ripped off did all this to my hood right here. But if I can get my hood to pop again, go into more detail, I've had to replace that twice. Not because I had to, just because I am not good with electrical issues on any vehicle, so I'm guesstimating what's wrong. That's why I finally decided to give up and replace the whole wiring harness. But when I replaced that steering wheel, sitting right down there is a Dixie horn. And I'm going to hardwire it into my steering wheel. But those are the bolts that hold on that plastic grill shell, and those are the bolts that hold on the other one, and the grill shells. By the way, that's my original lug nut remover, and it is the factory one, but my lug nuts that are holding on my rim are smaller than that. So I gotta go get me a 4-way. That right there sitting on the ground is the original rod that sits behind the bench seat of 77 and earlier Ford pickups that go into your jack, making it easier to crank. That way you don't have to use a flathead screwdriver like a redneck. But our plans are to factory restore. I do want to upgrade the sound system in it, just because I like my music, and being that's a small cab, it is a standard cab, I can't really go too crazy with it. I can't really put subs in it because I have a fuel tank behind my seat. That is not the original dome light. I broke the original one 2 days after getting the truck when it was still at my grandfather's. But it was originally a dual fuel. I don't know exactly who took out the second tank, but I called the dealership. I got a hold of the dealership where my truck was originally sold, which, as you can see, I still have the dealership plaque for my truck, which is very rare because most trucks didn't come with one that I know of. But I got a hold of the dealership. I called them the first time. They checked the computers to see if they had any service history on my truck, which they didn't. About 2.5 hours later, I called them again, and I told them I'm inquiring about service information about my truck, and I told them to go back and look at hard copies. So I'm trying to figure out why my transmission keeps breaking on my truck. And I found out that from the service information that this engine is a 400. It is not a 351M. It's not modified. It's a stock 400. It is putting out too much torque for my C6 transmission to handle. That's why I am swapping to a 4-speed. But right there is the exhaust. My grandfather jerry-rigged it because, as you can see, he didn't use that hanger or that hanger because this was originally a dual exhaust truck. The exhaust would have exited on both sides behind the rear wheel. I do plan on trying to do a frame off restoration, and I had to cut my fuel line because my neighbors took off my gas cap when it was raining and the tarp and got rain in my gas tank. So I had to be preventive to keep water from getting in my motor. But that's how bad my driver's side floor pan is. But eventually I want to have it converted back to its original dual rear exhaust. I want to have it completely restored within the next 6 years, and I want to have it running within the next 4 for my high school reunion. I will try to stay up to date and keep y'all through the process of me working on my truck. I got to go submit an application for a job today, and hopefully if I get this job, I will be able to get those tires, brand new tires for my truck sooner than originally planned. That is not the original fuel cap. My grandfather broke the original. That's a replacement off a, as you can tell, it's white. It came off a white standard F-150 bed, and I just put it on there. As you can see, I do have the fuel cap, which will make it easier. I have a new grill shell. Let me walk around in front of you, but first, before I do that, I do have the same sticker I have on my ashtray on my windshield so people know the rules of my truck. I attended Lincoln Tech in Nashville, Tennessee. And I do support the NRA even though I'm not an NRA member because I am only 19. I do support Yeti. I do have some Yeti products, but I do want to try to save my bed because this is the original bed. I like to keep everything as original as possible on this truck, even though I'm going to have that automatic thrown on a shelf. I repainted the bumper, which I don't really like this color. I want to try to find me a can of spray paint that matches that color because that's the color the bumper was when I got her. Even though this bumper is supposed to be chrome, but I will eventually replace this bumper, which is going to be fun because this Reese's hitch is welded onto the frame and bolted into the bumper. But back to another reason why I had my truck moved underneath this carport for the second time. When it rains, like I said, the guy didn't finish or completely fix the roof when he tried to put T-tops in it. So my roof leaks really bad. As y'all can see, he tried using Bondo, which is a reason why I don't like Bondo. I want to have this entire truck sheet metaled. But as you can see, the Bondo is flaking and I'm getting rust, and that chip of Bondo just peeled off just by me gently pressing on it. But I got a bunch of rust up here. My grandfather has a new roof skin for it. I just gotta go down there and get it from him. Which me and my grandfather aren't on best terms, so I'm probably gonna have to buy everything that I need that goes to my truck from him. But I'm going to do body work on this truck to get that skin panel to line up. I'm to cut out around where the skin panel is. I am a certified welder. I got certified in high school. So welding's not a problem for me. It's just gonna be a new experience welding with sheet metal. But I got new grill shell, new plastic molding, as I probably already said. I'm probably repeating myself, but I'm looking at getting my little sister a 78 or 79 Bronco, and she wants it because she wants something that looks like my truck, but also looks like that. My little sister paid for that truck. But back to this one, since this is what the video is focusing on. I have a bunch of parts ordered. Not ordered, they're in a cart, waiting to be ordered once I get the money saved up. And yeah, that's basically about it. I will try to keep you up to date, and the hood didn't shut completely again. But that's new. That's a new gravel ding. But another reason why I gotta replace my windshield, that big crack right there. That was there when I got it. I just never got around to replacing it. And since I never got around to replacing it, my weather stripping started cracking. I don't really trust any of the shops in my hometown area to work on my truck. My truck is my baby. My truck will go through my family tree. My grandfather has tried to get me to give Martha, as you can see, her name right there, has tried to get me to give Martha back to him so he could sell her. And I told him on the day that he gave her to me that I will keep this truck forever. And he posted it on Facebook that I told him that I would keep this truck forever. Yeah, he tried to get me to give this truck back to him 3 times. I almost caved once because I just was almost completely done with this truck. I didn't want to deal with it anymore. It was just sitting. I wouldn't be able to do anything with it because this is before I went to college to learn automotive. I specialize in older vehicles, mainly carburetors. But yeah, that's basically it. I got a bunch of parts in the cart waiting to be ordered for this truck. I will post videos and film the progress of me putting those parts on this truck. And hopefully I'll have it running within the next 4 years. And I will take you all along the ride. We'll film a vlog, basically, of my high school reunion and me taking this truck there. And my plans are, at my high school reunion, when it's running, because I want to have a new wiring harness from headlight to taillight put in it, so I won't have to worry about the electrical. Because I hate electrical. Electrical hates me. We get along like that. But what I plan on doing before I leave my high school reunion, being, can't quite think of a word other than stupid and smart as I am going to power brake in the bus lane in front of the school when I leave. But yeah, that basically concludes this update. I don't really know anything else that I really need to catch y'all up on for this video. But once I get more done to it, once I plan on getting more done to it, I will film it. I will post it. I will keep y'all updated the best I can. I am new to YouTube, and I'm sorry if y'all been waiting on a video for this long. But I will do my best to keep y'all updated. Peace.